everybody, how do you do? How do you do, everybody, how do you do? Oh, you come to gym for fun and we'll get you on.
Hi, my name's Simon. This is the Little Gym at Home. Now, in this week's episode, we're going to be looking at something called object permanence. Now, with your little one, we're going to be looking at those developmental milestones. So this is really probably around about sort of 6 to 10 months this is going to kick in. And this is where you'll start to notice that not only can you maybe hide something, but also they'll notice and be able to understand that it's going to come back. And it's all about understanding the world around them. And this is really what's going to open up their little world for them. So around here, if you can see them, we've got the donkeys. Their faces are slightly covered. And we'll be talking about that as we go through. Now, what you're going to need, apart from your little one, is some kind of scarf or a tea towel. So if you want to go and get that now, and I'll see you back here in a minute. So, we're talking about object permanence. Now, one of the reasons for that is at this age, what they're starting to develop is the idea that when things are hidden, they're not gone forever. Actually, they come back. And this can be very simple objects. But I guess the real major benefit at this age is if their toys, their favorite things disappear, maybe it's just gone under a blanket or something, it is still there. You're not going to get those big upsets. So that's what we're going to be looking at today. Now this will then manifest itself and into bigger things as they go forward. For instance, you leaving the room and then coming back. Just because you've left doesn't mean you've gone forever and you'll come back. But at this age, that's how they're going to feel. So we're starting to help develop, again, this phrase, object permanence. So some of the ways we can do that are going to go through some of these little skills. Now, the first one, with Chewy here, and you can do this with your little one at home. Lay them in front of you. If they can sit up, they can sit up in front of you. You're going to take your tea towel or your scarf. You just place it nice and gently over their heads, and we'll play peekaboo. So you're just going to peekaboo, and back down, and peekaboo, and back down, and peekaboo, and back down. Now, as you can tell, Chewy doesn't give much away, but hopefully you're getting some giggles at home as you're doing this. So that's your first little exercise. Do as many of those as you want. If you're getting lots of laughs, just keep going with that. You can then switch it around. You can do it yourself. So you put the blanket or the scarf over your head, and you can pull it off. Peekaboo. See if you get some laughs that way. If you get really down and close to them, you may find for some of those 7-8 months, they might try and reach up, grasp it, and pull it off your face. And that's a really important phase. So they're starting to understand if they pull it off, that object comes back. And the same when you're putting it over their faces, if they're starting to pull it off, you're already in that next stage of development. So this is great. So that's your first little skill. Now your next one, again, still on their backs. You're gonna lay your scarf out just in front of you, and you're just gonna pull them along. Take them for a little baby drag across the floor. And you can do this nice and steady, nice and easy, as you pull them backwards and forwards. And again, if you're on a nice soft carpeted floor, if they are able to sit up, you can have them sitting up, and you can just pull them very gently, and you can see if they can really activate that core to keep themselves upright as they go. So you just take them around. Again, I'll just lie Chewy down. You're gonna pull him back around, and again, hopefully you're getting lots of lovely smiles and giggles as you do this. Now, the next one we're going to do, I'm just going to put Chewy this way around for me for a second, is you're going to see if you can do some throwing and catching. So just going to get it up and it coming back down in front of them. Now the first stage for your youngest ones is you will just notice their eyes are going to track the object. So maybe left to right, maybe up and down as this is coming up and down. And again, perfect, that's what you're expecting. For the ones where they're getting maybe now again 7 to sort of 10 months old, you may start to see that hand-eye coordination is starting to kick in. They're starting to reach out and try and grasp stuff. So up and down, and they're going to reach out and try and grasp that. And you can go up and down, and then again, you can give them the scarf if they're at the older stage, and then you can see if they can then try and throw it away after you've encouraged them to do that. So again, you can turn them around, back on their backs or sitting up in front of you. If they can see you, you can put it on your face and blow it away. And it's a really lovely one because they can then see your face come back into the picture, and also the scarf is floating beautifully through the air. If you're using a tea towel, you're gonna have to blow really hard, otherwise you're just gonna be covered forever. So that's that little exercise to have a go at. Now, the next one is a little wheelbarrow. So using the scarf again, you're just gonna make it slightly longer and thinner. you place your little one lying, so their tummy this time is under the scarf, and just slowly and gently, you're just going to lift them up so their pelvis is coming off the ground, their little chest is coming up, and hopefully they're starting to now push down and weight bear down through their arms. That's producing nice, good, strong bones, what we call bone density, as they're weight bearing down through their arms. They're strengthening up, and the main part of all of these classes is to strengthen the spine, and that includes the neck, the shoulders, and their core as they're being lifted up here. And if they're getting that so far, and they're starting to really push up, you can just hold them there and see how they get on. I wouldn't say you need to do anything like doing any wheelbarrow walks at this stage. It's a nice static wheelbarrow, just see them doing that. If you can hold them up with one hand, bang, in front of their faces with the other hand, and see if you can get them to actually look up at you as well. And that really will work all of those core spine muscles as they do that. So that's that little exercise for you as well. So once we've done all that, and if you're still with me, and your little one is all still in one piece, you're doing really well. The next phase is we're going to do a roll, and this one is going to be a backward roll. So we're going to again use the scarf, but this time I'm just going to put it round and just wrap it round one of their feet. And what's going to happen here is as we do that backward roll, they're going to be able to actually see the scarf move with their leg and start to understand the body movements and the positions we need to be in to do these little rolls. So I'm going to take both of their feet here, I'm going to bring their toes to their nose, and you can see the scarf's now coming up to my nose, so I'm starting to hear and see the action at the same time. So it can be toes to nose, and then over we go. And I take the pressure off their neck by using this hand in the shoulder to lift as they come over and back into that prone, into that crawling position, getting their hands down so they can be back in that little crawling position again, and just like that. So let's just that one more time, just so you can see that one. So I'm going to take both of their feet. You ready? And we're going to go toes to nose, and again, this hand in their shoulder pocket on the opposite side. I'm going to lift with this hand, push with this hand, no pressure on the neck, and all the way over and back down. How did you get on? Did you enjoy that? If you need to do these over and over again, obviously just rewind, have another go, and any comments, please feel free to post them back on our social media pages. Thank you ever so much. Okay, so over here we're going to do our first skill, and this is again all looking at that big term we spoke about right at the start, object permanence, really looking at how they start to understand the world, and when things kind of come into their world and leave their world, they're not always going permanently. So that's kind of what we're talking about still as we move on, but also combining in some of those really great physical skills to really help them get moving at the same time. So the first one we're going to do is, again with your scarf, if you've still got it to hand, I'm going to place it over my head, right, come down almost to eye level, try and get their attention, banging on the floor, getting them to look up and seeing if we can start to really get close to them so they can reach out and grasp that scarf. And if they can pull it off, and you can do the whole peekaboos again and really get the sort of giggles and the smiles going. And again, this is a skill you're going to need to do over and over again to really encourage them and get them to understand what's going on. Now, if you've got a little one who's, again, a little bit older, who's got this straight away, what you can do is just make the gap a little bit bigger. Place it over your head again, either if they're starting to maybe shuffle forwards, come right down again, get their attention and see if they can either move along a little bit, or maybe they've just got to grasp further. And again, they're going to grab that scarf and pull it off, and you're going to see that. And you can do this, and also you can do it with them as well, so they get the sort of the sensory experience both ways. Now, once you've had a go at that, we can move on, and we're going to move up to a different kind of piece. So I'm going to get a cushion down to start with, just going to get them sitting on the front of the cushion, and again I'm going to put the scarf, again as you can see this is nice and easy to do, plop, on top of my face, come down right to their eye level, see if you can get them, encourage them to reach forwards, start to stand up, pull the scarf. I'm holding them in both arms above the elbows just for that support, and oh, where's he gone? And we're going to take that scarf off and get them standing up and weight bearing down through the legs. So we're going to just do that again. So sitting on there, put the scarf over my head, get them to reach forwards and back down to their feet. And just play with this one. As you can see, it's not always the easiest thing to try and hold your baby and put the scarf on your face and try and get them to reach forwards. But have a play and see how you get on with that. And once you've had a go with the cushion, if you've got a step, like one of those toilet steps, or you've got some little stairs in your house that you can come and use. Again, you can come up, give them a little bit more of a gap to drop down, pull them down, see if they can grab that scarf again, peekaboo, and see if you can get them doing that one. So you're combining now some object permanence, you've got some core strength, you've got some weight bearing down through their legs as well. So really starting to develop those muscles, those tendons and those bones in their legs as they're doing these little skills as well. So that's that skill. Now, you don't have to just do it with yourself and your baby. You can then bring in some of their favourite toys. So I'm going to use the bear here for this particular one. So in this case, obviously we're using an inanimate object, and in this case the bear, and so it's slightly different. So rather than getting that instant feedback from seeing your face, now they're going to be able to see one of their toys. So on this particular case, again, we can go peekaboo, and they can see their bear. And we put the scarf back on, peekaboo, and they can see their bear. We put the scarf back on, and hopefully we then start to see them reaching out again, especially as they start to develop and get a little bit older, and pull the scarf off themselves. So that's another little one. Again, you can do this with all different objects. If you've got some donkeys lying around in your house, you can obviously pull the scarves off your donkey's faces as well. But use any kind of objects you like. It can be even favourite foods as well as favourite bears and toys. But have a go. It's a lovely little skill to get you going. Okay, over here we're going to do a sensory exercise. We're going to use bubble wrap. So if you've got some bubble wrap lying around your house, you can go and get that and get it rolled out for this little one. Now, the way we're going to use it is we're going to start with some tummy time, and it's going to provide a different kind of feeling under their tummy. It's going to be a kind of an interesting one. Obviously it can make noise, it feels different as they do it. And we're just going to lay them on top. And again, just like before, we can come in front of them, try and get them to reach up, look up. For your youngest ones, they may be totally stationary. I'll just get Chewy to look up a little bit. There we go. Maybe totally stationary and just kind of interested and feeling around this different kind of surface. Now, for some of your older ones, you'll be able to move further away. Again, you can come right down to eye level with them and try and get their attention and see if you can get them to reach out. Maybe they'll just start to feel the surface, and obviously it can pop and things as they go across it as well. It's a really interesting one for them to do. As they get a little bit bigger, you just keep moving back. Try and get, oh, there you go, there's a little pop for you. Try and get them to crawl all the way across towards you. Now, once you've had a go at that, oh, it's all going off now, you can start moving on to other exercises with them. So you can support them at one end. Again, what we would look at is, for some of the younger ones, you support them right in the core, give them a nice strong core, weight bearing down through their legs. Start off stationary. Let their feet feel it, all those little senses in their feet starting to build up, all those little tendons, those ligaments, and all those bones which are currently soft at the moment. And there's more bones in the child's foot than there is in the adult's foot, and that's as they fuse together. So as they're weight bearing, those bones are starting to fuse together. So all these activities are great. And because there's a different kind of surface, a different kind of feeling, their sensory is going to overload as they're trying to work out what's going on. So once you've got there, for some of the older ones or the ones that want to take steps, go out to their upper arms, their upper torso, and see if you can help manipulate them to take some steps one after the other. And it doesn't have to be very far. You can just go wherever they need to. And if they're leading you, fantastic. If you're having to support them, don't wear them out. Just let them do a few steps. Stop. Be nice and stationary. Nice big static stand. And then back down again. And then again, they can sit on it. They can feel it as they do this. Now, the last little exercise we're going to do on here, just a really nice fun one. Again, under their arms, in their upper torso, we're going to do some jumping. So we're going to jump up and back down, and jump up and back down. And what you'll see with your little ones when you're doing jumping, and a really nice place to be, is actually face to face with them as you're jumping up and down, so you can maintain that eye contact. Is you're going to see them coming up. Typically they're all pretty smiley when they do this. As they come down, they're getting that sensory feeling again from this different kind of surface. And the one thing I forgot to mention, by the way, if your little one's wearing any kind of socks at the moment, that's what you want to take off. Make sure you're doing this always in bare feet. And so you're going to jump up and back down. And what I want you to concentrate on, as they come back down, you may notice they're really fixed and they don't bend their knees. What you want to do is give them a bit more time. See if you can get them to help bend their knees. They're going to go down, and then you go 1, 2, 3, and up, and back down. Again, if they're quite fixed, give them a bit more time. Go down and spring back up. And that way you're going to really help develop those kind of muscles they need in their lower limbs. Jumping is a hard exercise, and it takes a lot of work to do that. So that's where you want to get to. But as I say, crawling, walking, and jumping on this little sensory one over here. Okay, for this little activity, you're going to again need your little one, you're going to need a ball and potentially your scarf again. So if you've still got that, keep that out. If you haven't got a ball to hand, this is your moment to go and get one. I'm going to freeze for a minute. You can pause me and then come back and we'll start again with the ball. So, if you've got one, the first activity we're going to look at with the ball is just that simple one of rolling it and catching it. And if you remember that phrase we had earlier, which is the object permanence one, we're also going to bring this in to those little activities as well. So we're not only going to be working on things like their core strength, hand-eye coordination, or just even eye coordination, we're also going to be working on object permanence, which you're going to literally be brainwashed with by the end of this. So, the first one to do, now I've got Chewy, again, he's not really sitting up yet. If your little one's not sitting up, I'm just going to use the chair just to prop them up for a minute. If you need to wedge them between a couple of cushions, that's what you want to do, just so you can roll the ball backwards and forwards. If you've got somebody in your house that they can sit with, obviously bring them in and use them for that. So the first stage, nice and close, is you're just going to roll the ball backwards and forwards. And what you're trying to attempt to get them to do is not so much catch the ball, but actually try and reach out at this point in time and just feel it. If you give them the ball completely, you can then see if they will then push it away. And part of that, again, coming back to object permanence, is the fact that they're pushing the ball away, but it's not gone forever. It's actually then coming back to them as well. Now, once you've had a go at doing that, you can bring in your tea towel, your scarf, or a blanket. Again, you can put the scarf over the ball like that and just place it near them. And again, so the ball's completely vanished from their mind, and essentially for the youngest ones it's gone. For some of the ones getting a little bit older, they're starting to realize that actually if they pull the scarf off, it's reappeared. So for your youngest ones, at this point you want to help them with that development, and you're going to lift it off for them. And again, just like the peekaboo, you can give it a little phrase as you take it off, so it's just like oh, boo, and the ball comes back. And again, hopefully they're getting engaged, they're watching it, they're starting to get excited, that they know it's going to come, and that's part of that development, that actually now they're realizing that the ball is still there. So we're going to go boo, and there it is again. And if you keep going this, you then might see that even the youngest ones will start to reach out and try and grasp it and maybe try and pull it off. So this is that skill for that one. Now, once we've had a go at that, we're going to sit them down, and what we're going to do is going to put the ball in front of them, and this one is again is going to work on core muscles, eye tracking as the ball's going to rotate around, and you'll notice they may start to actually move in the core. And if they're doing that, what you'll see, I'm going to move the ball out of the way for a second, is not only is that going to work on that piece, but eventually that will work on that full rotation going from sitting to actually the crawling position. So to start with, we're just going to rotate it around. They're going to look at it. And if they're not fully rotating at this point, don't worry, because their head's going to turn and then all of a sudden it'll be gone. The ball's gone. That object permanence piece, that piece where they're starting to understand that things aren't gone forever. At this point, it may be gone forever. It's going to rotate round. It's going to catch their attention again. It's almost like it's a brand new ball. Now you're going to keep doing this. Get them really used to it. And you can either take it just to a point, bring it back this side, or again, for some of those older ones, rotate it fully round. And again, what you're looking for is to see if you can really get them turning in their core and trying to track that ball. And again, they can reach out for it as they're doing this as well. So that's another little great exercise, not only object permanence, but also about developing their core and also getting them used to turning into that crawling position. Right, now we're going to move on and use the sofa for our next activity. So now we're here at the sofa, we're going to use some other bits of equipment to try and raise the height and kind of progress up the rolling and the speed and everything else. And also we're going to use some of those Amazon parcels that you've been purchasing recently and use some of those cardboard boxes you've got lying around. So the first one we're going to do is going to get a cushion. You're going to get your baby, or Chewy in this particular case, they're going to sit on top of the cushion. And again, if they're not particularly stable, if you've got somebody else in your house who can hold them, great. If not, you're just going to have to be fairly close so you can just give them that support. They're going to get the ball up or high, and essentially you're going to allow them to roll it away, and it's just going to see that drop. And that's going to be your first stage, and just to see their little faces as that ball's rolling away from them and disappearing off into the distance, and again, getting them used to object permanence. Now, the next stage, and this is going to be the exciting bit, is you get in your Amazon parcel, you're going to create a little ramp down from the sofa to the floor. your little one's going to go and sit on the top again. We'll wedge them in. The ball's going to go up the top, and you're going to essentially roll it down. Now, you might need to give them a hand to start with to get the idea, but they'll soon get it, and they're going to push it, and it's going to roll all the way down. Now, as you can see, with Chewy, again, doesn't give much away. I'm having to obviously give him a bit more support, but that's your little activity you've got to do. Have a go and see how you get on. And if you can modify it, make it even more fun, go for it. Right, we're going to finish off with some bubbles, and I really hope you've enjoyed the class today. If you can remember, that term we were talking about is object permanence, and what it meant for your little one is as they start to develop, and we're starting to talk about really from about 6 months old, they're starting to understand the world around them, and the fact that some things, just because they're not in essentially their range of sight, their range of vision, doesn't mean it's gone forever. And that's really what we're talking about. So that could be a favorite toy. It could even be yourself. And that's really going to help them as they move forward and develop as they get older. So things like understanding that just because you've left the room, you are going to come back. You're not gone forever. So those are the kind of terms we've been talking about today. Lots of little lovely little exercises using the things like the scarves and the balls to do that. So you can carry on doing those at home and it will help them. The more you do it, the better it is. So we're going to finish off with some bubbles and a song you'll know well, which is if you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. And then we're going to do if you're happy and you know it, stomp your feet. So if you want to join in with me, with your little one, I'm just going to have them in front of me. We're going to clap their hands as they do it. So are you ready? Here we go. 1, 2, 3. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it and you really want to show it, if you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. Are you ready? You're going to stomp your feet. If you're happy and you know it, stomp your feet. I'm going to jump up and down. If you're happy and you know it, stomp your feet. If you're happy and you know it and you really want to show it, if you're happy and you know it, stomp your feet. Are you ready? One little karate kick. Hi-ya! Get that bubble. Hi-ya! Just like so. So I hope you've enjoyed it. My name's Simon and this has been the Little Gym at Home.
It's time to say goodbye.